Yet whenever small hints surface, a short clip, a leaked rehearsal moment, or even a fan account of him trying something new vocally, the ripple effect is massive. The reason is simple. Jungkook's voice has always been more than just sound. It represents growth, change, and anticipation. And now, with him spotted experimenting with new vocal approaches in the training room, the conversation is no longer about what he is singing today. It has become about what he is preparing for tomorrow and what that means for the rest of this year. Jungkook's career has been marked by his steady evolution as a vocalist. Since debuting at a very young age, his voice has traveled through several stages. The raw energy of his teenage years, the polished yet flexible range of his early 20s, and now the mature, controlled depth of an artist who understands both technique and emotion. Each stage has been recorded not just in albums, but in the memory of fans who can instantly tell when something new is on the horizon. The practice room has always been the hidden stage where this transformation begins. Every major shift in Jungkook's music, from experimenting with falsettos, to broadening his chest voice resonance, to perfecting a whisper tone delivery that feels intimate even in stadiums, started behind closed doors. So, when people hear that he is once again working on vocal variations, they naturally begin to wonder, what kind of project is demanding this new level of preparation? It would be easy to dismiss a practice session as routine, but context matters. Jungkook's current timing places these vocal rehearsals at a critical point in the year. The global music calendar is packed with major industry events in the final quarter. Award shows, year-end festivals, global brand campaigns, and potential album drops. If Jungkook is refining or even reinventing aspects of his voice right now, it almost certainly ties into something strategically significant. Fans know his pattern. He doesn't adjust his vocal approach without a bigger reason. When he pushed his falsetto range years ago, it was to prepare for songs that demanded more emotional delicacy. When he leaned into a fuller, richer belt, it was to carry pop anthems that needed impact on international stages. Now, by blending softness with power and exploring textures that seem both experimental and deliberate, Jungkook is signaling that the next phase of his artistry will be revealed soon. The emotional weight of Jungkook's vocals cannot be overstated. His voice is not just about technical ability, it carries narrative. Fans connect to his delivery because it feels personal, almost confessional. Every new nuance in tone feels like a revelation about who he is at that moment. That's why seeing him in a practice room, not complacent with what he already does best, but instead pushing into new territory, carries so much weight. It's a reminder that for Jungkook, artistic comfort is never the goal. Growth is. The anticipation builds not only among fans, but within the industry itself. Producers, songwriters, and collaborators understand that whenever Jungkook takes a new step vocally, it has the power to shape trends. His decisions can influence what type of sound becomes desirable in pop and K-pop alike. This is why even a small glimpse of his practice session has become headline-worthy. People know it is a preview of a much larger movement. Part of what makes Jungkook's vocal journey so significant is the unique position he holds. Unlike many idols who might specialize in one strength, Jungkook has consistently been a centerpiece, not just visually but sonically. His voice often anchors group performances while also standing strong on its own. That balance is rare and comes with pressure. Every adjustment he makes is scrutinized not just by fans but by industry professionals evaluating what direction he might lead next. When he chooses to refine a technique, it is not simply about sounding different. It is about recalibrating how he will be perceived on global stages. In this sense, the practice room becomes less of a casual space and more of a laboratory, where Jungkook tests the future of his own artistry and, by extension, tests the future of pop soundscapes. If we trace Jungkook's history, the pattern becomes clear. Before his solo single releases, there were subtle shifts in his rehearsal clips that hinted at a change in vocal style. Before collaborations with international artists, fans noticed him experimenting with English phrasing, diction, and delivery. Before major performances like the FIFA World Cup or award stages, he sharpened his projection and stamina. Each practice session was a foreshadowing, so the current moment, him trying new vocal textures in the training room, is not isolated. It is a chapter that will likely culminate in a large-scale release or performance. For fans, every vocal change is personal. They don't just hear new notes, they feel new layers of his growth as an artist and individual. For the music industry, however, the reaction is strategic. Jungkook's global reach means that his sound is not limited to one market. A new tone, a new singing style, or even a subtle stylistic shift can redefine his positioning across markets in the US, Europe, and Asia. This dual reaction, emotional from fans and analytical from industry leaders, explains why such a seemingly small event as a practice session is receiving so much attention. Technical growth is one thing, but Jungkook's ability to make technical skill emotionally resonant is what sets him apart. For example, when he softens his voice, it doesn't sound like limitation, it sounds like intimacy. When he expands his power notes, it doesn't feel like showmanship, it feels like release. This unique translation of skill into emotional experience is why every adjustment in his vocals is treated as a major development. The practice room is not just where he sharpens ability, it is where he experiments with new ways of connecting emotionally with millions of listeners worldwide. The immediate question is, what is Jungkook preparing for? Given the timing, it is reasonable to expect that the new vocal approaches will surface in one or more of the following: a year-end solo release, a collaboration with a major international artist, or high-profile performances at award shows and festivals. Each possibility carries its own weight, but the constant factor is that his vocal experimentation is not random. It is preparation for something specific, and because Jungkook's moves are rarely small in scale, the anticipation is heightened. Whether it is a single, an album, or a live performance, the fact remains, Jungkook is building towards something. The practice room glimpse is simply the opening scene of a larger story that will unfold in the coming months. When an artist like Jungkook experiments vocally, it isn't an impulsive act. In the global music industry, every detail is measured. A new inflection, a sharper falsetto, a darker lower tone, each of these details can change how a song is received. For Jungkook, this type of practice is less about casual exploration and more about designing the next stage of his career. The fact that he is dedicating time in the practice room to refine something new suggests a calculated direction. Artists at his level rarely explore without intent. That intent could point to a song designed to test new markets, or a performance meant to surprise audiences with a side of him they have never seen. In either case, the presence of these rehearsals now means that what comes later in the year will not be business as usual. Jungkook's evolution has often aligned with reinvention. His earlier years showed him as a versatile vocalist who could adapt to multiple genres. Then came a period where he became known for stable live delivery, setting a standard for idols performing under pressure. Later, he turned to subtle emotional delivery, introducing depth and intimacy that transcended language barriers. Now, with him seen working again in the practice room on fresh vocal textures, The idea of reinvention surfaces once more. Reinvention does not mean discarding the past. It means adding a new layer that redefines how audiences understand him. Fans anticipate this next step because they know his reinventions are never minor. They reshape expectations not only of him, but also of what an idol-turned-global artist can achieve. The music industry's calendar is not random. Major comebacks, releases, and performances are strategically placed to maximize attention. Jungkook's current practice sessions are happening at a point when anticipation for year-end content is high. International award shows, holiday season releases, and year-closing campaigns are all packed into the final months of the year. If Jungkook is preparing vocally now, the logical conclusion is that his next move is tied to one of these events. Fans speculate about a new single, while others consider collaborations or global campaign appearances. What is consistent across all speculation is the belief that his vocal adjustments are not for something small. They are, for a moment, designed to dominate headlines and conversations. The global music industry understands that a single artist's shift can trigger new waves in production trends. Jungkook's voice is uniquely positioned because it bridges Eastern and Western markets. His English language releases have proven that his tone and phrasing resonate globally, while his Korean language work maintains strong domestic influence. By experimenting with new vocal methods now, Jungkook could be signaling an intention to redefine crossover pop once again. If his new vocal style blends technical skill with emotional depth in a way that connects universally, producers around the world may begin tailoring songs in a similar direction. This ripple effect has happened before in pop history, and Jungkook is now in a position to be one of the few artists capable of creating it again. One fascinating element of Jungkook's vocal journey is how fans have become real-time analysts of his growth. Online communities break down every rehearsal clip, noting pitch, tone, resonance, and even breath control. These observations often turn out to be early indicators of his upcoming work. For example, when fans noticed him practicing smoother falsetto lines, it foreshadowed tracks where falsetto played a central role. When they heard deeper resonance in practice, it led to songs requiring strong, emotional depth. The current buzz surrounding his new training clips shows that fans have once again detected something beyond ordinary warm-ups. They believe, with reason, that this is rehearsal for a major release. It is worth noting that Jungkook could easily remain within the comfort of his established vocal strength. His voice is already celebrated worldwide, his performances widely respected. Yet his return to the practice room with fresh experimentation suggests an inner drive that refuses complacency. For Jungkook, growth seems to be less about external pressure and more about self-expectation. The practice room represents not just technical repetition, but psychological resilience. He is willing to deconstruct what he already does well in order to uncover something new. That determination is why fans feel emotionally connected to his practice sessions. They see in him not just a star, but a worker constantly striving to break past his own limits. The symbolism of Jungkook in the practice room cannot be overstated. To casual observers, it might seem like routine. To fans and industry watchers, it is a signal. It says, something larger is being prepared. Every time this has happened before, the outcome has been significant. A new release that dominated charts, a performance that became a global talking point, or a project that expanded his influence across industries. This pattern means that his current vocal experimentation is less about if something big is coming, and more about when. As the year edges toward its final quarter, Jungkook's practice sessions serve as a thread holding together speculation and anticipation. His voice has always been central to how fans experience music, but right now, it is also central to how they imagine the months ahead. Each adjustment, each nuance, each experimental tone carries weight because it represents possibility. What will he reveal on stage? What will he release to the world? And most importantly, how will this new vocal style redefine his identity as an artist heading into the new year? The answer is still unknown, but the practice room moment ensures that people are asking the question with intensity. That is the power of Jungkook's voice. Even before the music is released, it has already shaped conversation.